People with albinism have little to no melanin, the pigment that colors hair, skin, and eyes. It's a rare condition to have. In the USA, just 1 in 18,000 to 20,000 people is albino. But ocular albinism is even more unique. Experts don't know exact numbers, but they think only 1 out of 50,000 individuals has it. If a person has ocular albinism, nothing but their eyes gets affected. Their skin and hair might be a bit lighter than those of their family members, but the difference isn't that big. Bright sunlight makes 17 to 35% of people sneeze. This phenomenon is called the photic sneeze reflex. In the Greek language, it's called sun sneezing. It happens when the nervous system misfires. When it happens, one of the nerves might get the reflexes wrong. And then, bright sunlight not only makes your pupils contract, but also activates the nose membranes. When natural, fair hair is rare in adults. It almost always darkens with age. People who are more likely to keep their hair color light are those living in the north. The Bajau is a group of nomadic people that live in the waters around the Philippines, Indonesia, and Malaysia. Thanks to a rare DNA mutation, they can stay underwater for up to 13 minutes. The Bajau people have evolved spleens that are way larger than average. This feature provides them with a genetic advantage. Sea nomads needed to hunt for fish or look for underwater stuff that can be used in crafts. A particular gene mutation results in super dense bones that are almost impossible to break. They're several times tougher than the average person's bones. These people's skin is also less prone to aging. It might sound cool, but there are drawbacks. When such tough bones grow, they often put too much pressure on the nerves surrounding them and the brain. There are 3 kinds of cone cells in the average person's eyes. They help to recognize the colors in the blue, red, and green spectrums. Thanks to them, most people can distinguish around 1 million different shades. But those with tetrachromacy have 4 cones in their eyes. This feature allows them to see up to 100 million different hues. However rare this vision anomaly is, it's still much more common in women than in men. By the way, most people with tetrachromacy don't realize they see the world brighter than others. Only a bit more than 8% of people have counterclockwise hair whorls on their heads. A hair whorl can be single or double. Very few people have triple whorls, but those do exist. Not all experts agree with this theory, but some researchers claim there's a connection between handedness and the direction of a hair whorl. Left-handed people are 5 times more likely to have a counterclockwise whorl than those with the dominant right hand. Only 1 to 5 people in every 10,000 have an unusually shaped pupil. In most cases, it looks a bit like a keyhole or a cat's eye. This eye disorder is called iris coloboma. Scientists believe it's mostly genetic in origin. Super tasters are people who taste particular flavors more strongly than others. They have more taste buds. Those are small mushroom-shaped bumps littering the tongue. They're covered with taste receptors that tell your brain what you're eating. This feature also makes super tasters more sensitive to certain foods, for example, too sweet, bitter, or salty. They also have more pain receptors on their tongues. That's why such people avoid spicy food. The numbers vary around the world, but in general, 25 to 30% of people are super tasters. From 40 to 50% are average tasters, and 25 to 30% are non-tasters. Those have poor taste perception. Less than 1% of the world's population has a rare condition called dextrocardia. That's when the heart points toward the right side of the chest, not the left one. In rare cases, people with this unique quality have all their internal organs on the mirror image side of the body. Only 1 to 5 people in 10,000 have what's called perfect or absolute pitch. It's the ability to identify and recreate musical tones. This feature often runs in families. It's also more likely to occur in people who started their musical training before they turned 6. Ancient Greeks had stories about fire-breathing creatures called chimeras. They were a fearsome mixture of a goat, lion, and snake. In real life, chimeras are people who have 2 different sets of DNA. Scientists have recorded no more than 100 cases of human chimerism. The DEC2 gene mutation allows people to get away with just a few hours of sleep a night and still feel great. Such short sleepers don't feel tired, and they never sleep in. Their usual wake-up time is 4 or 5 a.m. Wow, not me. Only up to 5% of people have this feature. Scientists from the University of California have also made an interesting discovery. They claim that people with the DEC2 mutation need less time to perform certain tasks than regular sleepers. Morton's toe is a foot structure where the second toe is longer than the first one. Only 3 to 22% of people in the world have their feet shaped this way. Michelangelo's David and the Statue of Liberty are among them. Unlike the majority of the world's population, 1.5% of people have just one palmar crease. That's the line running across your palm. Men are more likely to have a single palmar crease than women. Most often, this feature runs in families. Only 3% of people in the world have lines that form the letters X on both of their palms. In many cultures, this rare feature is believed to be a sign of a strong personality. 1 in every 500 people has an extra rib called cervical. The average human has 24 ribs, 12 on each side of the body. But those lucky ones can have 25 or even 26. Excessive ribs are more often found in women. They're located in the cervical spine area and grow just above the collarbones. Their size can be different, from just barely developed to fully grown ones. In most cases, cervical ribs don't affect a person's well-being, unless they grow too large. In this case, they do cause discomfort. No more than 50 people have ever had Rh-null blood type, so precious that it was nicknamed golden blood. It can be donated to people who have incredibly rare blood types and can't accept any other. For the first time, golden blood was discovered in an Australian Aboriginal woman. People with a single palmar crease have just one line running across their palm, while the majority of the world's population has 2. Also called the simian crease, this feature is found only in 1.5% of the world's population. Men are more likely to have a single palmar crease than women. In most cases, it runs in families. Less than 50 people have ever had the Rh-null blood type, dubbed golden blood. For the first time, this blood type was discovered in an Australian Aboriginal woman. This unique blood type is universal and can be accepted by anyone, even those with rare blood types within the Rh system. 3% of people all over the planet have lines creating the letter X on both their hands. This is a rare phenomenon, and in many cultures, this feature is believed to be a sign of a strong character. About 25% of people have an interesting reaction to sunlight. They sneeze. This phenomenon even has its own name, the photic sneeze reflex. In the Greek language, it's called sun sneezing. In some people, saliva accumulates in a gland under their tongue. Then it can get propelled out in a stream when a person presses on this gland. If the mouth is open at the moment, a jet can reach several feet. This process, called gleeking, can occur spontaneously. A person accidentally pushes their tongue against the gland while eating, yawning, talking, or cleaning their teeth, and voila! Up to 35% of people can gleek, but just 1% can do it on command. Less than 1% of the world's population has dextrocardia. That's a rare condition when the heart points toward the right side of the chest rather than the left side. Sometimes people with this unique feature have all their internal organs on the mirror image side of the body. Ocular albinism affects only a person's eyes. Their hair and skin are usually a bit lighter than that of their family members, but the difference isn't that dramatic. Albinism is a rare feature to have, but if it's ocular, that's even more unique. Experts don't have exact numbers, but they think between 1 person in 20,000 to 1 person in 50,000 have ocular albinism. You may have a tiny hole at the top of your ear where it meets the temple. If so, you're among 10% of the world's population. This hole is most commonly found on the right side, but some people have it on both of their ears. These holes may go all the way through, or they can be dimples, dents, or even small lumps. Around 65% of the world's population have loop-shaped fingerprints. In 30% of people, fingerprints are whorl-shaped, and only 5% of people have arch-shaped fingerprints. All these types are divided into smaller groups. For example, there might be plain or tinted arches, accidental whorls, or peacock's eye, and so on. Hey, who knew? Most people have 12 pairs of ribs, which makes 24 in total. But 1 in 200 people has an additional 25th rib. Called cervical, it forms at the base of the neck above the collarbone. It can grow on the left, right, or even both sides. Those with extra ribs most likely know nothing about this modification. That's because an extra rib rarely forms completely and can look like a thin strand of tissue. In this case, you won't even see it on an X-ray. If you have a circular hair whorl on your head, it's likely to be clockwise. Some scientists think there's a genetic link between hair whorl direction and handedness. A bit more than 8% of right-handed people have counterclockwise hair whorls, but in the left-handed, this number grows up to 45%. When you're asked to clasp your hands, which finger do you put on top? If it's the right thumb above the left one, you're among 50% of the world's population. 49% of people position their left thumb above the right, and a mere 1% place their thumbs next to each other. If you have a shifted belly button, you were born to be a great swimmer or runner. The navel is your very own center of gravity. Where it's located higher than average, you have a longer waist and a lifted center of gravity. That makes you a faster runner. If your belly button is shifted down instead, you have more power in your torso. A longer torso also helps you make a bigger wave. That makes you a faster swimmer and a naval hero. Yeah. Gray is one of the rarest eye colors on the planet. If you're one of that gray-eyed 1%, your eyes have almost no melanin in the front layer of your iris. Depending on what color you're wearing, your eyes can actually change color from gray to blue to green. Your pupils can also get larger when you're getting emotional. Studies show that gray-eyed people are more competitive. If you have brown eyes, you're in solid company. Way back in the day, everyone on the planet had brown eyes. Some scientists think that back then, most humans lived in warm climates, and brown eyes gave them more protection against the sun. Brown-eyed people are great at activities that need quick reaction times, like boxing or soccer or whack-a-mole. Blue-eyed people are good learners and strategic thinkers. They're also good at sports like golf and cross-country running. The easiest way to find out if you're a mutant is to push your pinky and thumb together. If a long, thin muscle pops out on the inside of your wrist, you're totally normal. If it doesn't, you have a mutation. So, what's your new mutant power? Literally nothing. You and 15% of the population are missing a muscle that helped our ancestors swing from branch to branch. Since that's a pretty useful skill these days, that muscle's just disappeared from over 117 million people's arms. It's a good reminder that evolution is still going on, and that it's a pretty slow process. Now, if you have a double layer of eyelashes, you inherited this mutation from one of your parents. It means your 16th chromosome got mixed up a bit. You might have a full second set of eyelashes or just a few extras. Before you start getting jealous, remember it can cause extra tearing and even impair your vision. 90% of people have clockwise hair whorls. If yours goes in the opposite direction, you're probably also left-handed. Scientists think that the same genetic mutation is responsible for handedness and hair whorl direction. Some people have double whorls, which is even rarer. The superpower of twisting your tongue is rare, but not passed down genetically. You're more likely to be able to fold, roll, and turn your tongue if you speak certain languages or multiple languages. The cloverleaf tongue is the most complicated. Get to a mirror and find out if you can pull it off. People who have clearly asymmetrical faces, like one ear higher than the other, for example, are natural and effective leaders. They show initiative and take responsibility, motivate others, and put the interests of the group above their own. Photo time! If you think your right side is your good side, You're most likely an engineer, mathematician, chemist, or other sciencey type. If your left side is the one you go with, you're more of the artsy type. Only 2% of us have naturally red hair. If you're born red-haired, it means both your parents are carrying the gene, even if they don't have red hair themselves. These genes give redheads a lower pain threshold. That's why they need more anesthetic than people with blonde, brown, or black hair. If you have a large nose, you're less likely to have allergies and colds. A larger nose lets in fewer pollutants and pollens and protects your mouth from germs. Ancient Greeks and Romans thought large noses were a symbol of power and strength. If you have a small nose, you're more likely to work smart instead of hard. You like to get things done, and you're not into spending ages on one tiny problem. If your nose is scooped with a turned-up tip, you're a generous and sentimental person. Your family and friends mean the world to you. You inherited your sneezing style from one of your parents. If you sneeze just once at a time and turn your head straight away, you're caring and supportive. If you sneeze loudly and proudly, you're a natural leader. You get things done. If you carry tissues and cover your mouth when sneezing, you are a careful and deep-thinking individual. Sneezers who are always trying to break their record of 7 times in a row are charismatic and social. They like to inspire others. You're more likely to have a college degree if you're born with a larger forehead. No word yet on if that means you're smarter, though. Scientists analyzed the connection between head size, genes, and IQ. So far, it looks like it's true. That's it for today. So hey, if you pacified your curiosity, then give the video a like and share it with your friends. Or if you want more, just click on these videos and stay on the bright side.